What's up, Pauper heads? This episode is brought to you by Manapool. Manapool is a fast-growing marketplace for Magic the Gathering that makes buying and selling cards easy. Easy as casting Rogue Rack. Their optimizer helps you get the best value when buying cards, and their team is focused on making a great experience for buyers and sellers alike. And right now, in the description, we have a promo going. There might be still some left to claim. So they gave us a couple of promos. If you click that link and see if there's any left, you can get 5,000 extra mana. If there's none left, you can check out our affiliate link. Use that link. It'll show that the Pauper sent you over there, and support us and support Manapool. Manapool, dive in. Let's jump into the topic today. Today, we are going to talk about how to make a good Pauper EDH deck. We're going to try to do this in 3 simple steps. And to help us with that, we've got Bobby.
What up? It's
Welcome,
me.
Bobby.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, we have Bernie as well.
Yes, you do. Always.
This was just a trick for Bobby to teach us how to build good decks. So thank you for being here, Bobby.
Yeah, the issue is you said good, and you sprung that on me when I got here, so no promises, but yeah, happy.
Thank you. So today, just a preview, we're going to talk about what's the inspiration for the deck, what's your plan for the deck, and then how to execute that plan. But first, Bobby, tell us a little bit about, how long you've been playing PDH and what's currently your favorite deck.
Yeah, so I actually had to look back to see how long I was playing PDH. So I first dabbled in PDH back in 2014. I had to dig into like the MTG Salvation forums where I was posting about it back then.
Cool.
My first deck I ever posted about was Disciple of Deceit back then. So I haven't changed in terms of being a combo enjoyer. But yeah, so played a little bit back then, and then got back into it on like kind of the competitive side. And like I was just checking that too, like 2020, 2021, it looks like. So peak COVID, and been playing ever since, both competitively and casually. Right now, so my latest and decks I've been enjoying a lot are Leech Bonder and the new Green Goblin Revenant from the Spider-Man set.
That deck's
Nice.
so cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
It gets out of hand fast, and it draws lots of cards, which is all I care about. So it's fun.
So Leech Bonder, I'm not familiar with that, but I listened to PDH Pod this last weekend where Derek talked about you and him creating some monstrosity with like 81 creatures. Is that
Holy
that deck?
moly.
No, that's a different deck.
The 12 land one?
Yeah, no, we were talking about
Okay.
that. That was a different deck. Leech Bonder is a card from Shadowmoor that has an untap ability. The weird cards. There's like 5 or 6, I think, at uncommon.
Yeah.
But when you pay a blue and untap it, you can move counters from one creature to another creature. So you can steal people's +1/+1 counters. You can move -1/-1 counters around. You can move hexproof counters around. You can move flying counters. There's all sorts of weird counters you can move around. And it just like is really good at holding a Viridian Longbow because you just get to pay to untap it a bunch.
Nice. That's cool. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. It's a blue, mono blue, comes in as a 3/3, comes in with 2 -1 counters, and then you can pay, untap it to move anything, right? So yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
All right, so let's jump in. So step 1 to make a good PDH deck. This is easy. Yeah, this is simple.
It's just so easy. That's why we're having a whole episode on it. It's just that easy.
Yeah, I know how to do this. I'm doing this, for everyone else. I know what to do. Okay, step 1, like, what is your deck? What is your inspiration? So what makes you want to build a deck? This can be a couple things, right? Like, it can be the commander. Like, you see a cool commander, you're like, oh, I want to build a deck around that. Or I like this archetype. Or I like drawing cards, right? Like, so I'm going to find a cool commander that draws a ton of cards. Or I like chaos, and so I'm going to try to find a crazy chaos deck. For me, when I was thinking about this, I was like, I love reanimating, and so I'm still on the search to find a reanimator commander that I really like, because I like that archetype, but I want to find a reanimator commander that really connects with me. So that's kind of my example. So I don't know, what do you guys think? How do you find inspiration? Where does that start?
Yeah, I guess I can go. It depends. The famous, non-answer. Sometimes I get inspired by a commander. I'd say that's less often for me the case. I usually try to find a commander after the fact to fit whatever I want to do. Like Leech Bonder is an example of I like the commander, but
It was a very unique commander. Yeah.
But usually I have like some type of weird, like either a card I really want to build around or a wonky idea. I really I like porting 60 card deck ideas from 60 card into PDH. So right now in 60 card PDH, or 60 card Pauper, there's a 4-land like Balustrade Spy combo-y deck. And so I tried to make that in PDH. And so I have an 8-land Wilson Criminal Pass deck that is very good and like gives me the exact same feeling that deck gives me when I play it in 60 card.
Yes.
So sometimes it's like other archetypes, and then sometimes, yeah, it's just like a weird interaction that I like want to take advantage of and figure out how to build the best deck for it. So I think I was talking earlier about how I have a deck that I want to just force a draw in, and that's just using Coal Hauler Swine plus Harvest Pyre to just nuke everyone for way too much damage that no one survives, and we all draw. And then the Coal Hauler Swine gets a little check mark on it, or like a tally mark, and I just keep count. So
love it.
Of how many games you end in draws?
Yeah.
What are you up to?
Not a lot, because I've taken the deck apart and like built a different version of it, but I think I'm at over 5, I think. So,
my goodness.
And I haven't gotten that many runs with it, but
That's
it's
pretty
fun.
sweet, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think I would say the majority of the decks that I have built since we started playing Pauper Commander are based on an uncommon creature from a draft archetype that I really liked. So like from a draft format. So we do build a lot of set decks, obviously, when we're trying to make content. So that's fun for me I really like in Edge of Eternities, the blue-white archetype. And obviously they print an uncommon creature to kind of head that draft format. And so you can take that, add the cards from the set, but then also look back through all of Magic's history at those cards. And that's really fun for me, is like doing that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So that's probably the majority, but I also really just like also looking at the 60 card Pauper stuff and seeing what cards are really powerful there and how can you obviously it's trickier, and that's what's fun about it, is going from a format where you can have 4 copies of these powerful cards and introducing that into a singleton format. How can you either find them faster to be able to do the powerful thing that 60 card can do, or are there other ways that you can build it to get that experience? So yeah, but I would say most of the time it's based off of draft archetypes that I think are really fun, and finding a cool commander that can do that reliably.
Yeah, I like that.
Do you guys like have like, I know I personally, so I have like a list on Moxfield of like commanders. I'm like, I want to build it at some point, but I don't think I have all the card. Like, I don't know if there's a deck there yet, but it's an idea. And I have like a list of commons. I'm like, I want to build around this at some point. I haven't figured out where or how yet, but do you guys have anything like that where you kind of like store inspiration or anything too? Or
I think, well, not up until recently. I was more mentally, and maybe it was more like archetypes versus specific cards. But like one that I've done recently was Prima Vista, the vehicle from Final Fantasy. It's a blue. When you cast something 5 or more, I think it turns into a creature. Is it 5?
it's 4. I'm pulling it up.
Yes, 4 mana. It turns into a creature till end of turn. It turns into a 5/3 flyer. And I was like, oh, it'd be cool to make a no creatures deck. So literally no creatures. Even your commander's not a creature. So oops, no creatures. That was the idea. And so I've been experimenting with that one. And then I really like the survey mechan. But yeah, I'm sort of those are in my back of my mind. Of like, I'll get to those someday and see what I can do.
Yeah. I don't have a running list. I constantly am looking and hoping that I'm just missing something with a lot of colorless creatures, though. Just because I think a colors deck would be really fun, but you don't get too many great colorless cards for the 99 in any set. So it's like slowly we're getting like 2 and 3 every set, and it's starting to build up. And I know that there's going to be
ramen.
something.
What are you talking about?
Yeah. So there's things with a lot of colorless creatures, uncommons, that I would love to build around, that there's just not tons of support. Like if any of the colorless decks you build are going to look very similar typically, because you need all the good colorless cards to go in them.
Yeah.
So that's the one area that I'm kind of start building. I'm like, not quite enough there yet. But
Yeah, you kind of have to force it, or they're very similar, right? Like, or you're putting in cards just because you need more cards. But I mean, Glaring Flesh Raker is just awesome. So
yeah,
Pretty good.
yeah. But I think overall, like I think the theme here is like you find something that excites you, right? Like whether it's the commander itself, whether it's a common card that you want to like build around, or an archetype, or a weird sort of like, hey, I want to force a draw, and that's what I want to do, and that like, or for like the Prima Vista, I was like, it'd be cool to do a no creature deck. So like that sounds kind of fun and interesting and exciting to me, and so whatever it is, it's got to be exciting, obviously, or you're not going to build a deck. So, but your excitement can come in lots of different ways and different pieces, and it doesn't have to be the commander, I guess. So, yeah. So lots of different ways to draw inspiration, and yeah. Okay. Anything else on step 1? Jump to step 2.
yeah.
Step 2. What is the deck's plan? What is the plan? This, I think, is the biggest, sort of maybe most important, and maybe one that is sometimes hard to pin down, or if you're sort of maybe newer to PDH decks or Magic or whatever, the plan is essential. And the plan, I think, just maybe initially, the plan can be, well, to win. Sure, that's obviously maybe the most obvious one, upfront one, but it doesn't always have to be. Like, Bobby, your example is like, this deck wants to force a draw. That's the plan.
That's a win. That's a win in my book. But
there you go. Yeah. It's a moral victory. That's what the goal is, and so if you can do that, that counts in my book. So I don't know. We can talk a little bit more about that, but I think starting with the question of what does your deck want to do? What is the plan? How do you guys establish that? How do you figure out what the plan is?
I think so. Typically, not always, but I think typically that's going to come from the commander. So once you get your inspiration, you choose a commander. Your commander, and we talked about this before, but Derek always says, what does this commander ask of you, right? So like, if your commander, for example, in a deck that I just recently built is the Night Bonder, I can't remember, something Night Bonder from Ikoria, the Flash, all your creatures, all your spells with Flash cost one less.
Cunning Night Bonder.
Yeah.
Cunning Night Bonder. And so that's very clear. Like, this deck wants to have spells with Flash. So finding all of some number of those to fit in the deck. And outside of that, probably a lot of instants and just be a draw-go deck, right? And just play on everyone else's turn the whole game.
Nice.
So the commander kind of led me to think of something to do with that. And the Flash is obvious. The instance is kind of a choice. Like, it doesn't have to be that. You could still play some stuff on your turn, leave half your mana up and play your Flash stuff. But I decided to take it in like, it's all instance or Flash. So everything I do, there's no reason really to do anything on my turn, except for one thing that I do in every deck. We can talk about that later. There are 4 cards that are in there that are not Flash or instances, but they are in every deck that I build. So yeah, the commander for most of the time is, for me, when I build a deck, I look at the commander, figure out, as I'm playing the game, I want to get my commander out. Typically, a commander wants to be on the battlefield. Once it's there, what would a good hand look like? And go from there and try to figure out, okay, if these types of cards are here, that would be a fun experience for me.
I think that's a really good way to look at it. Like what cards you want to see. What will make this do the thing that I want it to do?
Right.
So yeah, I mean, like, I think the commander is going to be the biggest part. Like, that's the only card you're guaranteed to see every game, right? So there's that component. But it kind of ties back to whatever your inspiration was, right? Like, if your plan is to be a cult, like, kill people with Coal Hauler Swine, you better have some ways to find Coal Hauler Swine, because it's not in your command zone. So and that can't always be the only plan. You probably do need some backup plans in that kind of situation. So yeah, I think whatever your inspiration is will help guide how you decide what the plan is. Normally it's drawing a lot from that inspiration. So yeah, and then like you said, it doesn't all have to be to win. Like the Coal Hauler Swine one is a good example of just trying to force a draw. Like I have Green Goblin, and like yeah, I want to win, but really my goal when I saw that commander was how do I discard just so many cards so then I can attack and like draw a billion.
Yeah,
I don't even care what happens after that as long as I got to draw my billion cards and like
that
look at
feels
them.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Derek specifically, you mentioned him. He and I talk a lot about deck building, and we like a lot of the same things in terms of what we're looking for in terms of what the thing is, whether it's drawing a bunch of cards or like fiddling with a lot of game objects, like tapping and untapping things. He and I are both really into that. I also am a big graveyard enjoyer, so sometimes I'm like, how do I just get as much of my graveyard into my or as much of my deck into my graveyard as possible? So yeah, it's just kind of like building upon the initial inspiration and finding what makes the most sense. And sometimes this, like for me, a lot of times this is finding a commander that matches what my inspiration was, because a lot of times I start with an idea that is in the 99 as opposed to the commander, so that's like a whole adventure in and of itself.
Yeah, I love that. So you can do it like, hey, I want to do fun stuff. That's the whole point. And how do I what are the fun cards to play with? How do I accomplish that? But if it is diving a little bit more into like, how do I win? Or if it is to win, right? I think evaluating your cards and your deck on, does this help the deck win along the path, right? Along the lines of the theme or the plan. Like in your Cunning Nightbonder example, I think you're evaluating cards like, yeah, this card has flash or it's an instant, but is it helping further along the game plan? Like if it is to win, that's a fine reason too to build a deck. And I think winning is fun. So how do you evaluate cards on, I don't know, if your plan is to win, does it help you? Does it add to that?
I think it's also, you got to think about how you want to win too, because like
Yes,
the most common way to win is damage, but there's combo things you can do. There's mill, as a way to win.
mm-hmm.
And so that is like part of this calculus too.
How does the deck win?
Yeah. Like I mean, it ties into what the plan is if the plan is winning, but a
Right.
mill deck is going to be caring about a lot very different things than like a go wide deck versus what a Voltron deck is going to care about, right? So figuring out what that like looks like, I guess, helps shape kind of the how, which we'll talk about in a second. And like what matters more, I guess, too, like in those situations, like what you're worried about protecting, if you're worried about protecting it at all versus,
Right.
just getting it to pop off consistently. I think consistency is like probably a big consideration here too. Like, and how consistent you want to be as a whole nother like conversation, right? Like, do you want the deck to be too like the same every time and then it's too consistent that it's not even fun anymore?
Yeah.
Or, do you want each one to be like a new pull of the slot machine and you don't know what you're gonna get? I've played against decks that are like that too, where every game is like a completely new experience and you never know what you're gonna see. So
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I guess
Yeah,
if we're getting into the how, like
yeah, we are kind of going there, which is totally fine. Because I was thinking about, as you get more granular, card by card, I think that's the how, and you can start evaluating your cards on the individual basis, like, and asking yourself, does this help contribute to the plan? Does this help accomplish the plan? First of all, what is, I think by now you should have defined the plan. I'm going to win through combat damage, and that's going to be go wide and pump my tokens or whatever. So then, how do you execute that? Step
So
3.
real quick, sorry,
Yeah.
staying in the plan, I had
Sure.
a thought that I think I'm probably, my weak point of deck building is finding win cons, like, and maybe it's not a weakness, maybe I just don't care. So a lot of my decks, that's like an afterthought to me, is do I really have a win? Do I need a win con, or am I good just drawing a bunch of cards, making a ton of game actions, and if I win, I'll win.
Right.
If somebody else wins through it, that's fine, as long as I got to do what my deck kind of wanted to do,
Yeah.
which might, for me, typically isn't thinking about how it wins. It's how it does the cool synergies. Does the synergy come together for me? That's what I'm mostly looking for. That's what my plan usually is. And in PDH, I think that's a reasonable way to, like, that can win games. Like, just being a strong synergy is usually good enough. It can be good enough to win games. It doesn't need to be specific. I need these 3 cards.
Yeah.
Once I get these 3 cards, I can definitely win the game. It's more like a value by attritioning out the table. A lot of times is what will win the game. Who survives the longest? And so I think for me, I'm bad at like assigning, oh, these cards are my win cons. And I'm even bad with that in EDH. It's probably just that I just don't care that much. I'm fine playing a game where I just do what my deck synergizes with, and if I win that way, that's awesome. That's super fun. If I don't and I still got to do it, that's awesome too. I still had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Often I think Bernie's win con is to kill me. That's what it feels like anyway.
I mean, that's a win.
That's his goal. That's his goal. But I hear what you're saying. I would say I think sometimes the win con can be sort of vague in that, you know, like I'm gonna focus on synergy where I outvalue, outdraw, have tons of mana, and then the win con will present itself. Maybe that's like a Nyxborn Hydra or something, or like
yeah, exactly.
So like
that's right. That's true.
So something pops up, and maybe it's not like the only specific plan, but like through the card draw and the synergy and just outvaluing my opponents, I have several cards in here that when I find them, they're good enough to win a game.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly right.
But I think those are still important to at least put in there, and to just so you're not twiddling and like, because the game's got to end sometime, and I think that's okay. And instead of just playing with yourself and everyone's watching you play with yourself.
Yeah. No, I agree completely. Yep.
Yeah.
And I do include those cards, like the top end,
absolutely.
the top end synergies, which might not feel necessary to me like win cons, definitely can win games.
Absolutely.
For sure.
But they're not in there like, oh, this is, I have to draw this card, and it has to go like this specific way. But the win con is, hey, I'll outvalue you and I'll find things like, there's cards in here that are good enough to win a game, and whatever comes up, I can do it. So it can be sort of vague, but the plan is outvalue and outdraw, and then I've got cards in there that can be game enders. So yeah.
I like competitive is one thing, right? Where that is entirely centered around how do I win the game? How do I win it the most consistently? But outside of that, like it can be whatever you want. And I have some decks where like kind of like Bernie said, like winning, how I win is an afterthought, right? Like I built a Skyward Eye Prophets deck. I didn't care about how I won at all. I cared about untapping that thing and drawing cards and putting lands in play. And whatever happened in the meantime happened in the meantime. Sometimes I just won with just like a random 2/2 flying attacker 8 turns in a row, and you know, I had ramped enough to like stay alive, and or like, you know, a spore mound and just my landfall and just having chump blockers forever. Like, and sometimes those outnumber the number of blockers and they become attackers. So yeah, like some decks are not going to have to like care, like focus on that too much. Some decks, like, you know, the inspiration or the interaction I'm building around is ultimately like the win con. And so like what I'm building around, but it just kind of like you said, it kind of just depends on like what the goal is, what you know, how you get there and how much of a focus you need to put on winning changes with that. And not everyone probably wants to win most games, right? That's part of just playing a game in general, but it's definitely not always the focus. You know, there's plenty of chaos and, you know, group hug and, you know, your value deck, you know, the just doing the funny explosive thing one time. I mean, like Alcadron, I think his built decks where his goal is like being the reason he dies, and like doing his thing, but his thing results in him dying and not winning the game. So, you know, it just depends. But yeah, I agree with what you guys are saying.
But I'm hearing that in all of these, like the direction is still clear. Like you know what the deck wants to do, and the synergy is there too, right? Like all your cards help contribute to whatever that goal is. I think that's huge, because that's the sign of a well-built deck, because you have cards that contribute to this goal, and that'll just make a better deck and more value or whatever. Like good things will come of good synergy, and that could lead to winning, in different ways, versus a deck that doesn't have a clear direction, or it has like two directions and you're like, oh, I want to do a bunch of counters, but I also want to have a bunch of flying creatures or go tall and big, and it's like, what's the deck doing? And it could get lost in the middle somewhere, and I don't know, trying to be too many things at once, right?
Yeah, I tend to find myself prioritizing synergistic ideas, especially in PDH specifically, because we don't have the same level of haymakers. The cards that just win the game on their own, in EDH or anything where you're playing with rares and mythics and stuff. So synergy is going to be king, and yeah, I think you do have to rely on that and to build a good deck, or a deck that's better at doing the thing than other decks that aren't caring about synergy as much. It's hard to build just good stuff decks in PDH. They do exist and can exist, but it's just not the same as if you're focusing on synergy and cards that play nice.
Yeah, it's much more important at the common level, right? So getting into how do we execute this? So I think it's a good thought is, how do you define synergy? We say that a lot, but what does it mean?
Yeah. Pulls up dictionary. Yeah, I mean, I think to me it's just cards that clearly play nice with one another. Count using Green Goblin as an example, right? It cares about discarding a lot of cards, and then it turns that discard into card draw. So if you were looting or rummaging, that becomes card positive, and if you're just discarding to discard, it becomes card neutral, right? So it's at worst card neutral, and at best drawing a bunch of extra cards. So my focus when building that was, how do I discard cards, not for nothing, because I want to go card positive. I want to draw all the cards. And how do I not die while doing that so I can draw the most cards? And then, going from there and building it from there. I think that's a good example of one I built recently that I spent a lot of time thinking about how those synergies play out, because there's a billion ways to discard cards, right? You can discard them to things that just say discard a card and have some effect. There's all the rummaging and looting effects. There's madness and flashback stuff that likes being in your graveyard. So there's all these kind of not competing, but interwoven cards you're caring about, and mechanics you're worried about. And so then you get to play the fun part of, okay, well, what's the line? How do I balance all of these together? But figuring out what those kind of mechanics and what types of keywords maybe play nice together and work well together is kind of step one in that process.
Yeah, I like that. That's where my mind kind of goes is value. When you mentioned madness and the Green Goblin, right? It's yeah, we could discard and then draw that back, but how could I even milk that even further? And I'm so greedy that I just I put in some madness cards. I don't even have to discard. It's I'm not discarding, and I'm trying. So yeah, I mean, Bernie made the Green Goblin deck and put a bunch of madness in there and flashback, right? You're still getting value. I don't know. That's this part that I love is I don't know, milking it for everything, every little inch of value that I can get out of it. And sometimes it backfires and I'm too greedy, and then it doesn't work out, but I don't know.
But when it works out, it's a blast.
It's the best.
Yeah.
No, an example of so I have a deck, my favorite deck, my first and favorite deck that I've ever made in Pauper Commander is my Oblivious Bookworm deck. So it's the face down stuff. And my first iteration of that actually included a lot of madness and flashback stuff. Well, there's 3 madness cards in green and blue, but I had all of them just to have them. But it took away, I played a couple games with it, and it was cool when it happened. But I found that there were other cards that I'd rather have. Didn't actually care about what I discarded. And so discarding a Root Walla that I can just play for free, that's fun, but it's not that great.
It's
and
also
it wasn't
just a Root Walla, so whatever.
So I ended up taking those out and some flashback things, because I figured I want this deck to be more, I want to really try to not have to discard. So I put in a lot more morph things or ways to flip things up and back down so that I don't have to discard, because that would be even better, right? Is if I don't have to discard at the end of my turn. Instead of planning to discard, I just figured I'll just make the deck a little bit better so that I don't even have to do that. And then it's even more fun. So that was an example of like when I was trying to do too much, like you talked about, Miles, is I put in too many different things that do technically work together.
Right.
But it wasn't as cohesive and as straightforward. And so when I focused more on one thing, the deck just feels a little bit better, even though it was like 6 cards that I cut that were trying to do this little thing. Yeah, I think that is like the synergy thing of, you asked what is synergy really, and I like to think of it goes back to the commander. Like, is this card, what cards can I include that like are going to trigger my commander? Because like Bobby said, that's the one card you have access to. And it's typically the most powerful card, right? All the rest are commons, but we get one uncommon card. It's our highest rarity card that we get. It usually will be the most powerful card that we have. I want all these other cards to be either triggering it or providing value for the commander. And that's what I think of as synergy.
Yeah.
You can kind of think of it like, I'm thinking of like all those like graphs where it like has something in the middle and then they like have branches off that like how related things are, and like they have like different groups, and you want to have like a couple different like groupings where like all these cards are related and relate to the same way to the commander. But you don't want to have too many that like all the groups are too small, because then if you just get the wrong pocket of your deck, you're not doing anything. But you unless you're like in competitive circles, you also don't want to have too few, because then your deck's maybe going to be like just too consistent that it's boring or unfun or just like feels samey every single game. And I have a number of decks that I've built and then I feel that way about, and they're still fun, but you can't play them as often because they're not as fun, playing like 4 times in a weekend. It's like, okay, I can get maybe one run out of this and feel good about it. So
yeah, I wanted to share an example sort of around this sort of synergy and finding cards that fit into a category. So for example, I built a Doc Ock Sinister Scientist deck. We played it on the Kingdoms channel. It's an incredible, well, it's actually a common. So
Judge.
Yeah, I rule zeroed it, but it's insane. Okay, so it cares about, as long as there are 8 or more cards in your graveyard, it becomes an 8/8, base 8/8, and then if there's a villain, it has hexproof. And so I'm like, okay, you want to fill up the graveyard for sure, and then you want to play a lot of villains. I was like, okay, that's interesting. There's not a ton of, strict villains right now. There's some, and then there's some shapeshifters or changelings. But I did, as I was searching, and it sort of helped with finding cards that would fit this, that would be good with this commander, right? So I found Obishin's Desire. What does that do, Bobby? Because you know every card.
It's the enchantment that gives Shroud, right? Or a Shroud if you have Threshold.
Correct. Yes.
I don't remember what it does otherwise.
It's 1 mana enchant creature. Enchanted creature has flying, and then if you have Threshold, it can't be the target of spells or abilities. So I was like, this card is incredible in this deck. Like, I want to get to Threshold, right? Like I want to fill up my graveyard. I want it to be hexproof. Of course, but that's what the deck's trying to do anyway. And I was like, this card is perfect. And then it's going to turn into an 8/8 and have flying. Like I found this card as I was searching for cards that like synergized with what this commander wants to do, which is fill your graveyard. So I was like, okay, there's obvious stuff, I could look at flashback or other things like that, but I found, Threshold, that's a great keyword. And then I found this and I was like, holy cow, that's such a cool card. And, I hadn't really seen it. And I was like, this is perfect in this deck. Like, that's so cool. So an example for me, a recent example was that card. It just kind of fits into all the things that you want to do with this commander.
Yeah. I love when you can find those like kind of more niche cards that like play super nice with a commander. Like Leech Bonder was a whole bunch of those for me because it's random counters. Like I play this 6-drop from Ikoria, I think Wingfold Terran, where it enters with either a flying or a hexproof counter. And so I want that. I will make the hexproof counter and move it to my Leech Bonder to protect my Leech Bonder, and eventually I'll proliferate the hexproof counter, and all of a sudden I'll put hexproof counters on other things that have no business having hexproof. And it's fun. But yeah,
that's cool.
Otherwise, this is like it's a pretty mediocre 6-drop blue creature. Otherwise, it has a big butt. It's a 3/6, but a 3/6 that either has flying or hexproof for 6 mana isn't what normally gets me going. So
right.
Yeah.
But if it's like, imagine if I can move that and give all my creatures, give several creatures hexproof, like that's really cool. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, and that's the other thing too, is like it is synergistic, but it's also a fun pick too. It's like, oh, this card is cool, I want to play it, and it fits. Like,
Yeah.
I think that I think that's an okay reason to put cards in your deck as well, right? It's just, hey, I like this card. It's cool. It's fun. It's interesting. There's a sort of maybe a unique interaction. That's a good reason to put cards in your deck too.
Yeah.
As long as it doesn't maybe detract, or as long as there's still some sort of synergy. Because I hate drawing a dead card, or like, why did I put this in? Or, I mean, I like this card, but why did I put this in? Just because I like it? Just because it's a root wall and it looks cool, or whatever? Whatever. So, I mean, that kind of feels bad, but I like cards that are cool, but also have some sort of, help the plan, forward the plan.
Yeah, those are the funnest cards to find too, like that you'd never seen, or that you never see played anywhere else, and they just fit so perfectly in your deck. It always feels so good to find those. I think a lot of times though, we run into the problem, I do this a lot, is I need ramp, I need removal spells, so I just go and grab the best ones and throw them in every deck. Where what I've been trying to do recently is not do that, but find my removal, my ramp, those other spells that actually synergize, because there's so many different versions of ramp and different versions of removal protection. Yeah. So you think of all like the grave flickers, there's like, I don't know, 15 of them. You don't obviously need all of them. You need like a handful of them in your black decks. And which ones you choose, there's the obvious ones, you do the ones that are cheapest, or you can go with the ones that synergize. So I was thinking about making a treasure deck. So I want the ones that create a treasure. So there's like 2 that do that. Those are the ones that I should be prioritizing, not necessarily the ones that are best, or ones that put counters if you're a +1 counters deck. So there's a lot of ways to take that. You think of ramp, there's like New Horizons. Is that the enchantment that also puts a counter on a creature? So if you're a +1 counter, there's a ramp card that ramps you, but also does the thing your commander wants to do, which is +1 counters, instead of just throwing in a cultivate, for example.
Mm-hmm.
So I think finding those is also can improve the quality, the consistency of your decks as well.
Agreed. I love that idea. Doing a little more research or a little more searching versus just the net decking of like, oh, this is the best, whatever. But if you dig a little deeper, find something that's like, oh man, that's like perfect with this deck. It cares about counters, or it gains life, or whatever. Just play Scale the Heights. That's the best card because it does everything.
Yeah.
But that is one reason why I love Scale the Heights, because it's like whatever your green deck is doing, that's probably going to help it. So I don't know. But that's an example of like, yeah, that targets a lot of things. But yeah, if you can find those cards a little bit more like, oh, this actually is a little bit better for this deck. Yeah, I love that. Just kind of talking about that, like, I know there's a lot of deck advice or whatever that use templates. What do you guys think about templates? Like, oh, you should have this many draw, this many ramp, this much removal. My instinct is no, right? Like, we don't really use templates. I don't use templates really, but what do you guys think about them? Do you have any guidelines? Do you put in certain amount of removal, whatever?
I think they're okay for people to use. I don't think I've ever used one personally. They're really good for like when you're starting out, right? Like if you don't know, like, yeah, you want to make sure you have a good mix of things. But as you kind of develop more, or like play more, or like get a feel for what you enjoy, like, there's differences between control decks, aggro decks, mid-range decks, combo decks, all that stuff. Like they're going to want different numbers. Like a combo deck is going to want to protect what it's doing. Similar to like a Voltron deck might, whereas a control deck is less worried about protecting what it's doing and just all about stopping what other people are doing, right? So what types of interaction you're running and how those cards fit in will vary too. So there's just a lot of like variability in what a template could look like, that it's hard to like find a one-size-fits-all approach, I think.
Absolutely.
But like I usually have an idea, like once I've put together a deck, like, okay, and I start goldfishing. I think goldfishing is going to be like the biggest key, like other than actually playing games, about like what your deck needs. Like if you draw some hands and you're like not doing anything till turn 6, well, like you're probably dying a lot of times in those games. So maybe you need to like speed things up, whether that's lowering the curve or adding more ramp or if you're like, I can never beat, if someone resolves a flyer, I am never killing that. I'm never blocking that. Then you probably should look into like, maybe you can accept that, right? Like it's
Yeah.
okay to have flaws with a deck, but
Yes.
if you find yourself like, I need that, then, then it's just a cue to like, okay, maybe add some flyers or reach guys or something, more kill spells. So yeah, it's not like I don't think there's an exact science to it, I guess is what I'm getting at, but
Yeah.
it's a lot of feeling and like feeling out how games play.
Totally. I think, well, I don't know. I used to think every deck does need some ramp, a decent amount of ramp, card draw. I think every deck does need card draw, but removal, I don't know. Bernie and I have talked a bit about how much removal, especially targeted removal, and I think we're doing less than we used to for various reasons. There can be changes in design and philosophy, and maybe it's like, oh, I'm just going to kill these other people first before they can kill me. Player removal is great removal. It's the best form of removal. I also think guidelines, I think for ramp specifically, maybe there's an idea of, maybe not putting ramp spells that are the same cost as your commander. If you're wanting to cast your commander on curve, you don't want a lot of cards competing for that same slot. If it's a 3 or 4 mana, whatever, like that's one thing to look at is like, hey, when do I want to cast my commander? Do I want to cast him on curve? And then maybe adapt your ramp around that. So maybe 1 mana ramps or 2, avoiding that competing for that same spot. That's one idea. And then, yeah, like you said, I think gold fishing is hugely important to kind of feel it out and adapt. And yeah, like part of building a deck is revision and going back to it and seeing what's working and what doesn't.
Yeah, I agree with everything that you both have said. I don't use them in a strict sense. Like, I know there's people who believe in set numbers of everything, every category, but I do think it's a good practice to outline what you think each certain deck wants, and then try to fill that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can adjust it as you need. I think it's a good idea to have those ideas in mind as you're building a deck, so you don't do too much of one thing and neglect other areas.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's smart to think about those things for sure, and how your deck can be more cohesive with all the different things it wants to do. But I don't really say, oh, I need 7 in all my decks of ramp, I need XXX. It varies for every deck. And so I think it is good to think about those things and maybe outline your specific deck on a deck to by deck basis. But yeah, I don't have hard and fast rules with anything I do.
Yeah, I like how you phrase it. That you should always think about it though. Like you should know why, and you should know what concessions you're making, because then, and part of that is knowing what role you are at the table with your deck. Like a deck playing a Dargo, it is not playing the same removal that a deck with like a smaller commander is, right? Like people are going to be trying to kill Dargo, so you want to be worried about getting Dargo back in play as opposed to killing other people's things. So yeah, like knowing your role and knowing that hey, I am making these concessions to further that, like the goal here, and to execute my plan more effectively is completely reasonable. Like I have some decks that have almost no removal because I'm trying to be the problem, and so that's I've accepted my fate. I know I'm the problem, and I'll deal with the consequences. And sometimes it backfires, but I at least know that going in. And so, yeah, because in a perfect world, everyone has an answer to everything all the time. That's just not how this works.
Right.
So,
Right.
You guys kind of make it what you want it to be.
I think that's a really good point about what you said earlier. Like your deck is going to have some weaknesses. I think it's important to know what those are as well. And if you don't include certain things like, oh, I don't have a lot of removal in this, or I don't have a lot of draw, like you better have a good reason for that and know why you don't. Or whatever the weakness is, you should be very aware of that, and you should have a good reason why that is a gap. And so it's like, I don't have a lot of removal because I'm focused on going fast and taking out others before it matters, or whatever. Like, oh, my commander draws cards, so I need maybe less card draw or whatever, or my ramp, my mana curve is pretty low. I don't have a ton of ramp spells, like, so, and or like the flyer thing, right? Like I could add in some reach or like, flyer hate, but these other cards are better in the deck. Like these other cards are better for my commander and the synergy. And so if I die to a flyer, so be it. Maybe the plan is to deal with the flyers. I kill that person before they can kill me with their flyer, right? So that can be an answer, but because there used to be a time when I was like, oh man, I need everything. I need all of this stuff. What if they have a flyer? Or what if they have a shadow creature? Oh no. So you can't have a perfect deck and you can't have answers for everything, right? So, know what those are. Try to reduce them as much as you can, but they're still going to be there.
And they're okay. Like they can be, you can use them to your advantage sometimes too. Like you can be like, hey, I guess I don't have a way to deal with that thing. So you guys have fun with it.
Yeah. Good luck.
And maybe like that person will take sympathy on you because they're like, oh, well, I can deal with the other people who may have an answer for it. I can leave them for later, and they get distracted. You can use it in positive ways too. Plenty of ways.
Yeah.
So
politicking, that's another episode.
Yeah. That's maybe a few.
Okay. Anything else on kind of executing? I think we talked a lot about that. I think that's a good discussion there.
Yeah. The only other thing I don't know if we wanted to bring this up, but any cards that you always include, I have some. Like, I don't care what the deck is. I will always play initiative cards in my deck. Every single one of them.
Good value, right? Like, why do you play those?
I think they're fun. I enjoy games where the initiative is started by anybody. And so I want to make sure that I at least have a couple pieces that can do that in case no one else does.
It gets things going, right? It gets the action going for sure.
Yeah. I don't think I have an auto include in anything, which feels weird to say because I feel like I'm normally building around like a weird interaction. So like that, the good cards aren't always a fit. The PH pals will kill me if I don't say Howling Golem, Scare Tiller, and Marching Duodrone. So I'll say Howling Golem, Marching Duodrone, and Scare Tiller.
Nice.
But yeah, I mean, nothing. I don't know. To me, nothing is like sacred. Nothing's an auto include. I mean, Arcane Signet and Bonder's Ornament are probably the closest two for me because Bonder's Ornament is just a solid like ramp and draw, and Arcane Signet just. It's the perfect mana rock for what we're doing. So, yeah.
I do love Howling Golem. I put that in a lot, and just at the casual table, like it's just fun and it does get things going. And
it's when I play most of those three.
Totally.
So
yeah, I do have one. I play lands in all my decks.
Hey, there you go.
I don't even do that sometimes. I mean, I play 8 in one deck, so
yeah, that's crazy.
There you go.
I love that. Though.
That sounds crazy. But
so the other one that I actually do, I don't include all of them. So the 5 land cyclers from Lord of the Rings.
Oh yeah, those
are very, very good.
Yeah.
The black and the blue ones are the 2 that I pretty much include in every black or blue deck. The other ones I will include a lot of times, but not every time. But I think every black and or blue deck I include Trolls Cause of Doom and Lorien Revealed.
We sort of on this topic, we do have a package on our Mox field that is called Pauper Staples, and so as you know, there's certain ways to feel about staples, quote unquote. I don't know that it's always good to rely on them necessarily, but I think it's a good place to start if you're like, oh man, like what are some really good cards to evaluate maybe from? Like, oh, this is like the highest tier or the best card in this category. Like Thraben Charm, I think is just awesome, right? Like that does so much. So like cards like that, I don't auto include them, but if I'm like, man, I need a really good whatever card, I can go to the staples list and find sort of includes there. I don't have a lot of auto includes. I'm really liking the like impetus cards.
Those are fun.
Yeah, those are just those. I don't know. I love those because it's like not removal, but it's better than removal.
It's not my problem anymore.
Yep,
pointing it at someone else, right? Like it's removing it without removing it. I love it. It's like not a threat. But it's also doing, man, they're so good. They're awesome.
I think so. So go ahead.
just touching on your point of like staples, I think they're fine to fall back on because they have such a high floor a lot of times. Like they're good cards for a reason, so they're perfect to add in as like the last few cards as you kind of get a feel for it. It's not to say like don't rely on staples or anything like that, but they're also like the cards that are probably most likely to get cut for like the cooler synergy cards as you kind of find those.
Right. And if it's like, oh man, I like to fall back on them as a nice thought is like, oh, I need some card draw. I need a really good, like I have 3 slots for removal. What do I put in? I want to put the best ones in. So you can go back and find those really good ones. But yeah. Okay. Any other thoughts?
No.
Okay. So let's run through a quick sort of example. So let's talk about these sort of 3 steps with like sigil.
Cool.
So the inspiration's already there. We sort of did that one. We talked about this commander in our podcast about unique commanders to paupers, like things that you can't play in EDH. And Sigil Captain is, who's got it?
It's a 4-mana Selesnya Rhino Soldier. It's a 3/3, and whenever a creature you control enters, if that creature is a 1/1, you put 2+1/+1 counters on it.
So when I saw this, I was like, I love this guy. He's a rhino. He looks cool. Sometimes art can be the inspiration too, right? He's a big fat rhino. He looks really cool. But I love the idea of like 1/1s, which sometimes are not very impactful, be mattering, right? Like one of my first thoughts was like Healer's Hawk. And I was like, oh man, like a 3/3 flying lifelink for 1 mana. That sounds awesome. So I was like, this guy, the inspiration to me behind this was like, oh, I'm going to make these 1/1s that you don't see much play. I mean, Healer's Hawk sees play, but other stuff, I want to make these 1/1s matter. And like, actually, like, imagine if this 1/1 was a 3/3, then how good would it be? And I was like, okay, that's really cool. So that was sort of the thought behind when I saw this guy. So that's the inspiration. That's the direction is like, well, what's the plan for Sigil Captain? Step 2 would be, what does he want you to do? I mean,
play 1/1s is
pretty obvious. What? How'd you think of that? How did you come up with that?
So 1/1s, but also +1 counters should be part of the synergy packages that you're building.
Right. So that's a very good point. How would you balance those 2 ideas? Like, how much would you focus on the 1/1s versus the 1/1 synergies, or I don't know. What do you guys think?
So I think for this one, I wouldn't care about my creatures needing to put counters on things because the commander's going to do that.
Yeah.
And so I would focus on maybe a couple, like, I don't know, 2. They're all going to be 3/3s. So I don't really know if I'd care too much about the tramplers. Like if your creatures have counters, they have trample.
Yep.
I don't know what I would have to think about this a little bit more.
There's a couple proliferate stuff.
Yeah.
First strike. Oh, all the things that like those, what are they called? The
Outlast
creatures?
guys.
Outlast guys.
Yeah.
Those would be great.
The ones that say if your creatures, everyone who has a counter has first strike.
Yeah. I also like the persist. I don't think there's a lot of persist guys you can like get coming back forever, but like Safehold Elite, because it comes back as a 1/1, it put 2+1/+1 counters on it, so then it can persist again. So just is there forever.
Interesting.
Awesome. I love that.
So like, I think you want to lean heavier into the like making sure you're getting commander triggers happening so that your guys are getting bigger, but like you still want to play like the like you're like the guys that give those guys a buff, and maybe even like things that care about like power 3 or greater, right? Because you're gonna have an abundance of that. I don't know if there's a lot of that stuff off the top of my head that comes to mind, but it's pretty easy to get like ferocious, so you have total power of more than 4, right? So
yeah, I like, those are cool directions for sure. I was thinking about Worms Crossing Patrol, the 1/1 with
gross.
Myriad.
Yeah.
That seems pretty good, right? Also, like token creators, right? Like
tokens are great.
Cards that create a bunch of 1/1s and they're all 3/3s. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
So I like that idea. Cards that die and make another 1/1, so they're kind of they're kind of sticky and they stick around.
As far as ramp, I would do all mana dorks.
Yeah,
all
no
1/1
no
mana
rocks,
dorks,
right? Like you don't
probably.
need.
Like I can't. Maybe a couple. Maybe there might be some that are good, but I would want to focus on as many 1/1 creatures in the deck as you can. And
Right.
if 5 or 6 of those are 6 of those be mana dorks, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Those aren't mana dorks anymore. Those are attackers.
That's true.
Right.
They are 3/3 mana dorks, but they help you get to your sigil captain faster, which is really good. So you don't just
Yeah.
want to hold on, because a lot of your 1/1s you're going to want to hold on to until you play your commander. But
Sure.
if you have some of them that you play turns 1, turn 2, you play him on turn 3, then they're not dead draws. They're never a dead draw. Those are like the best cards in your deck because they're great early and after your commander's out.
Totally.
Whereas a lot of the other ones that don't tap for mana, you're probably going to want to wait till your commander's out there to get the value out of them. And so having 1/1s that serve both purposes is important.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. I also like, so back to the thought of like, if this was a 3/3, how gross would that be? Like, Sky Hunter Skirmisher, 1/1 with flying and double strike. So
Anything with double strike?
Yeah.
Yep. Anything with double strike. Fencing Ace is a 1/1 with double strike on the ground. So like those are pretty sweet.
Night Soil is gross. Like Battle Screech is gross. All these like make a bunch of dudes, and
Yep.
they're already like a great rate for 1/1s. But when you're making like, multiple 3/3s for 4 mana, seems pretty
Yeah.
sick to me. So
There was a flyer for extra Obi-Wan that makes 2 with Toxic, right? The mites.
oh yeah.
Oh, yes.
Charge of the Mites or something like that.
Yeah, that's right. I also, I was looking into this. What about now? This could be a distraction, but like there's a bunch of reanimator for mana value 3 or less in white. How much would you prioritize that? My instinct is like those are cool, but it could be a distraction to put in like, I don't
I'd
know,
play it.
recommission or
I think I would play those. Don't a lot of them also add counters when they come back?
yeah.
Well, that's maybe a non-bow because then it would not trigger potentially because it would come back with a counter already on it, so it'd be a 2/2. But
It enters with yeah.
yeah.
see.
But there's so many like if you're recurring like an Evolution Witness or a Selesnya Evangel, like any of these like repeatable token makers, Acacian Crier, like discard a card, make 2 citizens, like 1/1s. That card's nuts. If you can return any of those, like they're just like really good value cards, right? Like I don't think you need to go overboard on them. Like just run like a couple of recursion pieces. But I always like having recursion in my deck anyway because I figure people are gonna mess with my stuff and I want it back. So.
And that's where I get greedy, and I'm like, oh man, just do everything, do all this stuff.
Yeah.
What about? Let me ask you about Maul Splicer. Anybody? 7 mana, 1/1.
7
mana, 9 power.
That's
On
right,
board.
baby. 7 mana, 1/1. When it enters, put 2 3/3 golems onto the battlefield. So yeah, with this guy, you'd get a 7 mana and have 9/9 of power.
The worst part, so I love that card. Unless you're like doing flicker stuff, which you could do, like that's a sub theme. You could do
There
all
you go.
this stuff.
Yeah,
But like, it's almost just like worse than all these other things that make 1/1s because it's all like it's making 3/3s, but so are these other things that are making 1/1s.
Yep,
so
true.
it's almost like overcosted for what this deck could be doing, which is crazy to say.
It is
when we're talking 7 mana for 9 power, but
There's
especially
ways-
when they all have trample.
Yeah, there's ways you can do that for cheaper. That's kind of funny. Yeah. But if you're, but like that's an example of like if you're looking for only 1/1s, this is a 1/1.
Yeah.
But be careful.
Chatterstorm.
Yeah, Chatterstorm's great.
Nasty.
So another thing that I do a lot of is I go and look so I try to have an idea first and I throw together a list and then I go look at other people, what other people have done. PDH pals have built on their Moxfield. They have this.
They have a couple
this guy
decks.
built. Do they?
Yeah, a few.
We got a few.
So Sigil of the Nyan Gods.
Card's very good.
3 mana enchantment. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 for each creature you control. Also has cycling, so that's good. Soul of Migration. Yeah, all these things that enter and create tokens are fantastic.
Yeah, those are sweet. Yeah.
Blink effects are pretty good too for all
yeah.
those things.
And like this is just an example, like maybe on the surface it looks pretty straightforward, right? But as we're getting more into it, there's like there's like a bunch of different directions you can go. And so I think like recursion, blink, stuff I didn't even consider. But like token makers are awesome, mana dorks are awesome. Like there's just a ton of different things you can do, different directions. So I think maybe the one maybe advice is try not to do them all, right? Like pick one or two, so you're not like you're doing 5 different things and you have like 5 cards that do in these all of these different categories. That I think that's where you can get into trouble, is like, what is the deck trying to do? I think picking one lane or one or two support stuff, and then you can have a couple of recursion things or whatever, because those aren't going to be dead. But if you're trying to do too much, the deck is going to lose its direction, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this is one where I think there's so many directions you can go. There's a lot of overlap, which is nice though.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you have that going for you, and those are going to be the situations where you get to like, it doesn't feel as bad to like try out different things when there's that overlap.
Yeah.
So you can find out what works, what doesn't work, what doesn't feel good. Like, yeah, like I like having double strikers, but like why would I pay 2 mana for 1/3/3 when I can pay 2 mana for a flash 2/3/3s, right? Like, so you can kind of like figure out what you like and like audible accordingly. This like Sigil Captain is like the perfect example of a commander that can go just so many ways that looks kind of like straightforward on its face, but
right.
yeah, I really like this one. So
Yeah, I think it's cool. Yeah, and also just what do you want to do? What do you like? And lead into that, right? Like that can be fine too. Like, oh, I do want to do a lot of blink. Great. Put a lot of 1/1s that maybe have an ETB and you blink them a bunch or whatever, like get a bunch of value that way. So, or make a bunch of tokens, right? When they come in and blink your way to victory. Yeah. Okay. Any final thoughts on that?
No, I think that is a cool commander. I
Yeah.
like it a lot.
I'm excited to build it and see it in paper. It is cool. Okay. As we close, Bobby, do you have any tips? Any final tips for new or, current PDH deck builders?
look, like Bernie mentioned a minute ago, like go look at what's out there. That's one of my steps in every process too. Like I don't do that first, because then it just becomes like I'm copying their deck and then I'm not like doing my own searches and finding things. And but yeah, go look at what's out there, but don't be afraid to like just play whatever you like and what you find first. Be open to like changing it, and maybe things not working. And ultimately remember that at the end of the day, the goal is you having fun and having like a fun game experience with your pod. And so, you can include whatever you want. You don't have to min-max everything if you don't want to. And if you're playing a card just because you love a card, you can do that. Like there's no right way to build a PDH necessarily. These are all we're talking about are like ways to like build a deck that's like kind of like you said, a good deck, like a maybe more consistent deck at doing the thing. But how far down the optimization hole you want to go is completely up to you, and completely okay, no matter what level that is. So
yeah, I think I love that thought, because, well, I think maybe a more well-built deck, even if it's not, sweaty or competitive, is going to be more fun. Like versus, I don't know, oh man, I like this card, but it's like dead and I don't get to do anything and I don't get to play my deck. And so a well-built deck is going to be more fun to play, I think. And then to your point, it's a game, it's for fun, build whatever you want to do and play. But if you build it well, I think it'll be more fun. So,
yeah. Try to get reps in, because there's variance in games. So just because you try your deck the first time doesn't work doesn't mean that it's not going to work next time. So just keep trying, fiddle with things. But yeah, don't feel bad about a deck not working once or twice. You're going to get variance too, because it's a tricky thing.
I got plenty of duds. I have a whole folder of them. So
okay, cool. Oh yeah, we want to hear from you guys too. Like, what are your inspirations with us? What inspires your decks? Let us know in the comments or our Discord. Jump in there, and we have a cool active, PDH deck building channel as well. So we want to hear from you guys. What are you excited about? How do you approach deck building? All that. Okay, Bobby, anything you want to shout out or anything you want to point people to?
I mean, I can shout out everyone and everything. The pals are gonna be mad at me if I don't mention them. So go check out the pals when they stream on Tuesdays and Thursdays on Twitch. Also check out the PDH pod, where I'm sometimes alternate Brad or Dave or Liam, depending on the week. But also, we posted, me, Scooby, Springer, and Puzzlebox made the Mean Girls MTG channel recently. We don't know how often or, what is going to end up on there, but, keep an eye out. Whatever we do, we'll at least probably have fun doing it. So, and it'll be PDH related almost certainly. So, nothing too crazy, nothing like set in stone for future stuff, but those are all the things I'll plug. And
nice.
Yeah.
Go see him at Magic Cons and events when he goes. He's so much fun to play with and hang out with.
Okay, you don't have to lie to everyone. It's fine.
Bobby. Okay.
All
right. That's it for the podcast. What is next? You know what's next.
20 common questions.
And Bernie's got the card, and so I've got Bobby on my team. He knows every common card ever printed, so we got this. All right. Oh,
okay, let's see it.
Okay, we are up. So you want to lead us off?
Sure, I'll cut it in half of me. Is the mana value even?
No.
All right. Boom.
Odd mana value. Is it a permanent?
Yes. Permanent.
All right. Now we have to actually think. Darn.
Darn.
Is its mana value less than 5?
Yes.
All right.
Is it blue or black?
No.
Is it a creature?
Yes. That was 5.
So what is it? What's the mana value? It's odd.
It's 1 or 3. 1 or 3.
Okay.
Creature, red, white, green, or colorless.
Okay. Is it green or white?
Yes.
Is it green?
Yes.
Okay. Mono. Wait. Doesn't mean it's
at least green.
We knew that, Bobby.
No, that wasn't a question. I said it's at least green, but we don't know.
I know.
That wasn't. I was not asking a question. So
is it? Well, shoot. We know it's green, Bobby. Great. Now if we lose, no, I'm just kidding. Because we knew it was green or white.
Right.
Okay, so it's green. Is it mono green?
Is that your question?
I guess I asked if it's. So I should have asked if it was mono green instead of is it green.
Yeah, that's okay.
Me. Yeah.
Is it mono green?
Yes.
All right.
Okay. Hey, we gotta ask.
Yeah.
What are we at?
8.
Mono green creature.
Mono green creature. That's 1 or 3.
You've asked 8 questions. Correct. Yep.
1, 2, 3.
That's 1 or 3 mana value. Oh, dude, we got this. This is easy. Are you cheating? Are you looking at all the? Are you Scryfallings?
No, I'm just taking notes. I'm taking notes of the question so I don't forget.
There are 43 possibilities. I know.
No.
Okay. Is it mana value 3?
No.
All right. So it's 1. Is 0 odd?
I think 0 would be even. So
okay. Are there any 0?
I guess we'll get, and I don't know if there's no
common 0
creatures at 0 in green. So
okay.
I don't think 1 CMC. Green creature.
Should we ask if it's a mana dork? Should we ask?
We can ask if it produces mana.
Does it produce mana?
No. I was 10.
All right.
How do you feel about asking if it has like an activated ability?
Yeah.
All right. Does it have an activated ability?
Yes.
Okay.
Ooh, that's not mana.
But not mana.
Okay. So do we care about power toughness? Would that help?
I feel like it's not going to help much given we're dealing with
okay.
1-drops, but
Okay.
I mean,
Ability that's not mana. One
so
mana.
I'm thinking of like,
They do, yeah.
so I have a few right now. I wonder if Arbor Elf doesn't produce mana is one thing I'm thinking about. There's like
Sure, yeah.
Caustic Caterpillar is like one I'm thinking about. I'm sure there's plenty more. I'm just not
Does it
thinking
do
about
counters? Does it
But we know it
ramp at
has an
all?
activated ability of some sort. So
Would let's see, would knowing if it puts counters help, or
I don't know if there's an activated ability that puts counters on things at 1.
at 1 mana?
There might be.
No, yeah, I think you're right. Well, not the one that I can think of.
I just can't think of many one. The issue is I can't think of 1-drops.
Does it ramp? Does it destroy an artifact or an enchantment? What's the one that you sack and is that 1 mana? Sack it. I think it's like
Caustic
paper.
Caterpillar does that.
Okay.
So that's kind of one I was thinking about.
Okay. Does it? Hey, Bernie.
Yes.
Does it destroy an artifact and or enchantment?
Yes.
Oh, let's go. Okay, so Caustic Caterpillar. What's the Canker?
That's a 2-drop, right? Canker Abomination.
Okay. What's the
Is there anything other than Caustic Caterpillar?
Does sets help you?
No, not at all.
Okay. Or printings or reprints or
That doesn't. I mean, if it helps you, go nuts. But
no, it doesn't.
I mean,
it helps Bernie though. He's like, is this when was the first print? Was this printed before 2003? I'm like, oh my gosh, who knows?
If I had more ideas other than just this Caustic Caterpillar, I'm like laser focused in on right now.
Yeah, we're kind of
what might help, but
do you want me to give you a hint?
No, we don't need a hint.
Not yet, I guess. 15, I will.
Yeah. We'll get flavor text at 15.
So it could destroy. We know it destroys an artifact enchantment. We know it's 1. We know it has an activated ability and it's a creature green. I mean, what else is there besides Caustic Cat?
What's that Kinker Bloom one? Is it the Kinker Bloom? Is that what it's called?
But is that not a 2-drop?
What set was it from? I thought March and the Machines had one, but it might have been
real quick.
Yeah.
Can you say your last question to me one more time? Exactly how you worded it, or if you want to change the wording.
No.
Does it destroy...
I want to make sure I heard right, so to make sure I answered it correctly.
Does it destroy an artifact and or enchantment?
Yes. Okay. Yes. That's yes.
Good. So it could be one or the other, which
is Kinker Bloom. Is it a 1-drop?
I don't know. The March of the Machines one, I think.
I know what you're talking about. I just thought it was a 2. With
I think it probably is. I just can't picture it. Does anything else do that? What about the Scythe? Isn't there like a Scythe Cat or something that does that? I think
that's also 2. Undergrowth Leopard.
Yeah. I think. Yeah.
Like there's a bunch of 2.
Right. Yeah. There's a bunch of 2 that where you pay 1 and okay.
But it could destroy like a creature too. Like is what I'm like. It could destroy something like permanence in general, right? Or like an enchanted
at 1.
Right. That's what I'm trying to think of. Is there anything like that?
But let's narrow down the Caterpillar then. What's its PT? Is it a 1?
I don't. The issue is I don't remember.
We could. What type is it? Is it a caterpillar?
Probably like an insect or something. I don't know.
We could ask if it has caterpillar in the name.
Well, we could do like, does it start with a letter like A through what's halfway? I don't know.
That's really good. Yeah, we could narrow like
what's halfway.
I don't know. What's 26 divided by 2?
So like A through M, I think is halfway. Does it start with the letter A through M?
Yes.
Do we have another one if it's not the caterpillar?
No, that's the problem.
Okay, so let's just rule that out. Like, does it Does it have caterpillar in the name?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, we're good.
Yeah. Is it caustic caterpillar?
It is.
And we've known for
caustic
5 questions
caterpillar.
or whatever. Yeah.
Yes.
So that's the only one that destroys an artifact or an enchantment. The rest are, there's a bunch. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5 other 1-drop green creatures that have an activated ability to destroy either an enchantment or an artifact or a creature with flying.
Wait, so that does both? Wait, is
It
that
can
what you're
hit
saying?
either an artifact or an enchantment. The others can only do one of those things.
Oh, it can hit both? The caustic
It can hit
caterpillar?
either of them.
It's-
Yes, it
it's
can
either,
destroy
yeah.
target artifact or
You
enchantment.
said there's 5?
Yeah, I'd never heard of any of the others.
Okay, well, I don't think I would have gotten that without you, Bobby, so thank you for being here.
If it was
You've
any
heard of it though, right, Miles? You know that card.
Do I know it?
My favorite one is they have a jumpstart art that looks like the caterpillar from Bug's Life.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is one that I proxied for Bill. Or not proxied, altered for Bill as
Ooh.
our red patron.
Oh, that's
Awesome.
right. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
That's awesome.
Love it. Okay. Well, thank you guys. Thank you, Bobby, for being here.
Oh, thank you
And,
guys.
Thanks, everyone, for being here and hanging out with us.
And if you've enjoyed this episode, like and subscribe, ring the bell, support our stuff, and join our Patreon if you want to take it a step further. For those in our Red Pepper group, we want to shout you out. We have Teresa and Tyler, Bill, a.k.a. Too Much Do. We have Dash and Dad, Lazgata, Mutator Pie,
Ariel,
Ariel,
Feegis,
Mama
Tutu,
Tutu, and dang it,
29.
Halloween 29. There we go.
You guys are the
Crushed it.
best. Okay, we appreciate you, and we will see you next time. And don't forget to
Stay spicy.